Hey folks, my eye's all screwed up, so I'm gonna wear this stupid patch while I record this video and all the videos today. Hopefully, it's better tomorrow. Um, it just looks gross, so I'm going to go to LinkedIn for a question. This one's kind of interesting. I don't think I realized that people had questions about this. So this person had said that I mentioned in my videos here on Code Commute that my goal is to be a manager of managers. But also I mentioned that my role is a principal engineering manager. So they were like, hold on. What does this all mean? Because they said they haven't heard of a place with a principal engineering manager, and their assumption based on like the role and the level sounds like it would be a manager of managers. So they just said it might be kind of interesting to talk through that, and like they said, it might also be interesting just to talk about your role and what it means, etc. So I'm happy to talk through this. I think it's a cool idea. Buckle up. No, I'll keep it, I think, relatively quick. But yeah, let's start, I guess, right? So um, I work at Microsoft as a principal engineering manager in the Office 365 or Microsoft 365 side of the organization. So I don't work in Azure. I work literally like in um, the platform teams that support all of the services for the Microsoft 365 suite of products. So like all of the cloud products, right? If you wanted to go access Outlook online, to go check your mail at work or whatever you're using, Office products online and your information stored, a Microsoft, you have mailboxes at Microsoft. That's all flowing through our platform. So there is there are many teams that make up the platform side of things for that, and then there's all of these service teams that build products and services on top of that as well. So what I'm trying to explain in this and the rest of the video is that I can't actually comment on the Azure side of things because I don't work there, and I wanted to explain that like even the titling and stuff can be super confusing out or like within Microsoft. Here's what I mean. If you went to levels, FYI, I'm pointing at my monitor behind me because I have it pulled up. Levels, FYI, if you're not familiar with that website, if you're trying to compare salaries for different places, they give you I feel like a pretty accurate representation of what the stuff looks like. If you look at the engineering manager role and then you look at Microsoft and compare it with other companies, um, they have like level 64 and Microsoft role or like level numbers are kind of weird, but level 64 is the first level of engineering manager that it shows at Microsoft. But that's not even true in the Office 365 side of the organization. It's just not. And it's called senior manager is level 64. Senior manager at many other places refers to a senior of managers, if that makes sense. It's not like you are a senior person and you are a manager. It is your senior within the manager role. So a senior manager is usually like an L2 manager, which means that you are a manager of managers. That's literally not the case here because senior manager at level 64 is the very first level of manager, apparently. So I'm assuming that's more of an Azure concept. Principal engineering manager is level 65. So to answer this person's question very directly, principal in this case literally just refers to the level, the numeric level. So 65 is principal band at Microsoft. So 59 would be when you join Microsoft as a junior developer, new hire kind of thing, fresh out of school, that kind of idea, like you're junior. 59, 59 and 60 are that band. Then 61, 62 are sort of mid level. 63, 64 senior. 65 through to 67 is principal, and then there's partner after that. I think partner is either 68 or 69. I can't remember, but I'm not there, so I'm not looking at that part yet. But principal is 65. So I am a currently, this thing's falling off my face now. I'm currently a level 66 principal engineering manager, but the principal part just refers to the numeric value of the level. So if you read on level, back to why this is confusing, if you read on levels FYI, it says Principal Engineering Manager at level 65, and then the subtitle says Principal Director of Engineering. Again, director at many places is at least an L2 manager. Sometimes it's even like L2 or above. So sometimes it's even above like a senior manager that might have like director above that. Like I'm looking at Amazon, they have software dev manager, senior software dev manager, then director. Like they have it level broken out. Um, I just have Salesforce pulled up here. This is what it did for me. Manager, senior manager, director, senior director, right? So they put director usually above senior manager. That's what levels FYI shows for Microsoft is a senior manager, principal, director of engineering, then senior director. But that's not like in the Office 365 side of things. That's not how the titles work at all. So the earliest level that you can be an engineering manager in the Office 365 side of things is a principal. So 65, not 64. So on levels FYI, that's why I said I'm assuming this is Azure. I don't know. But 65 is the first level that you are allowed to be an engineering manager in Office 365. So it's kind of confusing because if I say I am principal, level 65, engineering manager, that is the function that I have. I am at the sort of entry level of engineering manager in the org. Now I'm level 66, so I'm, sort of one level above that. But yeah, that's probably confusing, but hopefully explains a little bit about the naming and the leveling and all of that stuff. So yeah, my role currently is not to manage other managers. It is to manage ICs. I don't know. I suspect level 66, uh, maybe 67 is the first level for it at Microsoft. I'm not sure if it's 66 or 67. I might technically be able to manage managers at 66. Um, or I don't know if if they restricted at 65 that you can't. I don't know. But there's no like requirement in my org for that. I'm saying that backwards. There's no need for it. Requirement, I don't know, but there's no need. Like, we're not hiring another manager to put under me kind of thing. Like, it just wouldn't make sense. So I don't have such an opportunity to go do that because there is no need in our org to go do that. So it's kind of like maybe at 66 now, I'm capable or qualified from Microsoft's perspective to be able to do it, but there's no need. Um, Said a different way, I'm just making this up. I actually don't know. Maybe if there was another team in Office 365 that was looking for um, a manager of managers, maybe I would be qualified based on my level 66. I don't know. I just know that opportunity has not even come up for me. So um, I don't know if I think that's kind of answering what's going on. So in terms of what do I actually do? What's my responsibility? Um, there are some managers, especially ones that have been uh, that were software developers, especially in the team that they were on, who went from say principal engineer to principal engineering manager. Again, that might sound like a promotion. That's a role change. If you're 65 as a principal engineer and you're 65 as an engineering manager, that's not a promotion. That's literally a role change. I don't know if some people have gone from senior engineer, like a level 64, into a 65 principal engineering manager. I don't want to say that's never happened, but like that would be kind of confusing because it's a promotion and a role change. Like that feels a little weird. You're promoting someone into something that they haven't done before. Kind of awkward, but I can't say it's never happened. I don't know. But my role as an engineering manager currently is not to manage other managers. It is to manage individual contributors. Again, just to reiterate, the principal part of my title just comes from my level. So currently it's 66, and 65 is the first level where you can be principal. So I manage individual contributors. So what are my responsibilities when I say that's what I do? So I should back up because I went on a slight tangent. Some of the managers that have been promoted as from developers on the team, they might find that they're still writing some code, and if they have smaller teams, it probably makes a lot of sense, right? If you have a team of 3, 4, 5 people, and you were an engineer on the team, and you're sort of put into an engineering manager role, the likelihood that don't have time to write code anymore is uh, probably pretty low because you were probably already doing it. It's just that like you're taking on that new sort of responsibility. So um, I don't know. I would say like if your team is rapidly growing, maybe not because you have to go spend more time hiring and that kind of thing. So you're put into an engineering manager role, and that's like the new responsibilities are consuming a lot of your time. But I would say for really small teams, you probably still have time to code. I manage over different points in time, like between 10 to not more than 15 people right now, but 10 to 15. So I manage like basically within one team, but like three, call them feature crews. So it's like three sub teams. So I don't have time to code. There's seemingly not enough time in the day to do the other things, but I don't have time to code in my role without giving up other things that I am responsible for. So if that changed, if my manager, my skip, or whoever was like, "Hey, new expectations of managers are you need to be delivering code," I would be having a conversation around, well, what else is not going to get done, and like that's what it would need to be because there isn't sufficient time for it. So for just as an example, I have a responsibility to work with my product managers for planning. Around this time of year, there's a lot of planning that's going on. So that might be a conversation if they were like, hey, engineering managers are all expected to be delivering code now, new expectations. What I would say is, okay, here's the other things I'm responsible for. So if you genuinely don't think that I should be spending time with people on their careers or side conversations to make sure that they're being effective at work, like if you don't think that that's where I should be spending time, I think it is. But if you don't agree, then I can carve some time out from that. If you don't think I should be spending as much time on planning and I can sort of defer more to the product managers to, organize that, like, okay, I'll spend less time on that. But something has to give, right? I have on call shifts. Since June, I've been on call for 3 months, which is more than should be. So, okay, like, that's a huge chunk of my time. Should I not be doing that? Right. So something would have to give. My current role, I do not have time during the workday to be coding for my day job. So I don't. I do planning work. So that works in a couple ways. That's regular planning. So week by week basis, when we're doing our feature crew syncs, what does that look like? So people are reporting progress on things. We're talking about what's blocked, what's not. Um, there's always a ton of moving parts in software. So we might have partners that are behind on things. We might have priority changes. So I'm working with the team to be able to navigate that. And basically, there's a lot of time spent reprioritizing things. In an ideal world, that priority list is not changing that often. Ideally, it would just be like, new exciting opportunities. And then we can say like, great, like let's let's get through what we're doing now. And then like the next thing coming up, maybe that becomes a new exciting opportunity to go tackle. But things are not always ideal. So sometimes it's like, oh, there's a critical bug that has to be fixed, or we work in security. So there might be something related to security that comes up. So there's always priority changes. And one of my goals is to make sure that we're focused on the most important thing while reducing randomization for the team, which is really difficult to do if things are always changing, and then making sure that people can focus on the work that they find engaging. In my opinion, that's a really big part about being an engineering manager and probably one of the least talked about. And I think that can really separate you from doing a good job as an engineering manager versus just being someone who assigns work, right? It's easy to go, who has the next free capacity, and just like, who's the best at this and who has the next free capacity, like go do it. But people are people, right? They're going to have um, different interests, different things that get them engaged or challenged. So trying to understand that and align things so that they feel like they're growing. Um, they feel like they're focused on things that are interesting challenges for them, and they're engaged in that work. Um, so there's time spent on that. I do a lot of cross team meetings. So trying to make sure that for the projects of at the scale we're at, and like the variety of different things that we're doing, there's a lot of interactions across teams. So it's not just like I have 10 to 15 people that report to me and we work in isolation from other teams and we just deliver stuff and you know check the boxes. It's really like at any given point in time we might have like a handful, up to five sort of different interactions with teams that we're actively working on. And then on top of that, there might be like new requests and requirements coming in where we're having those conversations with people too. Not to mention, we have things like on call. It's a live service, right? So these are all the things we plan for, but then we have stuff on top of that we didn't plan for that, and we have to make progress with that. Um, what else? Designing, right? So there's some things where I have to put specs together for things. A lot of the time, my goal with that is to not be the person that's doing it, which sounds kind of funny. I'm happy to work with I'm happy to kind of be the in between. So if it's like this is a goal that we have, I'm happy to try getting that articulated into a document, working with partners and or product and or engineers to come up with a high level. But when it comes to architecting a design, like this is one of the weird sort of things to balance, right? If you're a newer engineering manager and you've already been doing this kind of stuff because you have the technical background, you're not managing a lot of people, like it would feel very artificial to say, "Oh no, like you don't design things now. Like that's someone else's responsibility." As in like you're not capable of it or you don't have time to do it. Like that doesn't really make sense. It's pretty artificial. For me, coming into a team where there's already tech leads, there's already principal engineers in these different areas. They are the subject matter experts for years. I'm, all things considered, very new to it compared to them, even though I've been on this team for 2 years now. Does it mean that I am not able to come up with architectural designs? No. Would I be the most effective at it? Also, no. If my team was completely swamped doing other things and we needed to make progress on an architectural design, does that mean that I shouldn't do it or shouldn't start it? No. It's just that it doesn't make sense for me to do it as the first step. As in, like the ideal way is that I'm the one doing it. It doesn't make sense. I have principal engineers that could do it significantly better than me because they have the background. I have senior engineers and or people that are more junior than that are looking for such opportunities to do that. So if I am the one that's putting architectural designs together, I'm actually taking opportunities away from people. It doesn't make a lot of sense for me to do that. If it's an urgent priority and there literally isn't another option, then of course I can go do it. But I would much rather that I'm trying to find as an opportunity for someone to go do this. Now, does that mean that I just delegate it and walk away and then say, I never have to look at an architectural design again? No, I literally participate in our like architectural review process across Substrate. Substrate is the internal like the platform for Office 365. So I participate in that. I have team members that are putting together designs or I'm reviewing them, participating in the feedback and all of that. So like I'm actively participating in them. I'm just not the one who's like generally speccing them out from scratch. So that takes up a bunch of time. There's stuff like on a regular basis where fortunately, because we do a lot of stuff in C Sharp, and that's my preferred language to work in because I code a lot in C Sharp. I can help people if they're stuck on C Sharp things, right? I can do code reviews effectively in C Sharp. At least There's going to be parts of the domain where I don't have the depth of knowledge from not working in the code base, but at least I'm like, there are some things where I'm like, as best patterns and practices, readability, did you cover things with tests, this kind of stuff. Like I can participate in code reviews and not be useless. Other languages make it more challenging, right? So if we have a C++ review, it's not that I cannot do it. It's just that the value add from me is less and less. So I do spend time on reviews. There are times even like, I'm just thinking about examples of one-on-one conversations where we're going through stuff and then someone will, they'll bring up they were working on some code and it's like, wait, I got time, you got time. Like we can kind of extend the one-on-one just to like, why don't we just walk through this code together? So almost like pair programming, like pair debugging, that kind of stuff. So that comes up on a pretty regular basis. But yeah, ultimately it's like, there's a lot on the people side of things. I don't think people realize how much time goes into that. The more people that you add into your responsibility in terms of your direct reports, the more that your time is spent on that. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It is this the reality from a scaling kind of point of view. I think, and I feel like an ideal number of direct reports, if you wanted to like stay hands-on and technical, is like, 3 to 6. I would say somewhere in there is like, you probably have some people to manage. You can still be pretty hands-on. I think once you're going past 6 though, it also depends on the experience level, the domain expertise of not of your direct reports and yourself. So you can get away with, still being hands-on beyond that. Like I have literally done this before in the past. I've managed 10 plus people and was still coding every day. But it's like, in terms of your time constraints, you can't be effective at all of those. Something like there will be a trade-off or you're using more time for work. So anyway, that's kind of high level, different areas I focus on. But one of the main questions with part of this, this message that came in was like, what does it mean to be a principal engineering manager? Principal is just the level. 65 is the earliest you can be principal. I'm level 66 right now. And 65 is also the earliest engineering manager level allowed in Office 365, to the best of my knowledge. Levels, FYI, is confusing because they label a principal engineering manager at Microsoft as a principal director of engineering. Maybe that is the case in Azure or other parts of Microsoft, but not in Office 365 at least. So hope that helps. I realize it's probably a little all over the place, but that's what I got. I will see you folks later, and hopefully my eye is back to not needing a sleep mask over top of it because it's disgusting. But if you have questions, leave them below in the comments. Otherwise, go to codecommute.com. You can submit questions anonymously or do as this person did. Find me on LinkedIn, anywhere else you want. Send me a message. I'll try my best to make you a video. Take care.